I am here with the legendary icon. There's so much you could say about her, but the one and only Gloria Estefan. Thank you so much for joining Pop Culture Weekly on iHeartRadio.
That is so kind of you to say. Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be here.
So there's so much we can talk about. You have a brand new album, Brazil305, and I can't wait to talk to you about that. But for a moment, I want to go back, if that's okay, and start, a little bit at the beginning. You exploded onto the scene, treading so much new territory, blazing trails, particularly for Latin music in America. Was that something you were conscious of as you were going through that period?
We never thought about that aspect of it. For us, it was always about doing the music that represented us culturally, who we were, our musical offerings, our ideas about that fusion that we created because of our Cuban background, more so in Emilio, because he didn't go to Spain until he was 13 and he came to the States when he was 15. I came here when I was 2.5. So I was really raised on my mother's record collection, which was eclectic and varied and gave me such wonderful, opportunities to listen to Cachao, Celia Cruz, Olga Guillot, the big stars of Cuba, but also Nat King Cole, Johnny Mathis, Dean Martin, Andy Williams, and Carmen Miranda, who had been huge. Then later in the early 60s, Jobim. My mom was an amazing singer, dancer. She was the diva in my family, and she was playing music every day in my home. So when I joined the band at 17, I brought with me these ballads that, got me through the toughest times of my life, and I would play on my guitar. I could also do disco music. I asked Emilio and the band to learn these Brazilian hits like Corcovado, Desafinado, Chica de Ipanema, Mais Que Nada. And all those gigs that we did and all those rehearsals, when we started writing our own music, we had this amazing vocabulary of things to choose from that were legitimately part of who we were. So when they started telling us, hey, take out the horns, take out the percussion, change your name, you're too American for the Latins, you're too Latin for the Americans, I go, that's who we are. And if we're going to succeed, it has to be with something that we love. But it was never like when we went into the studio, it wasn't us thinking, oh, we're going to get a hit on the radio, or oh my God, we hope this wins a Grammy. No, it was, we were excited about putting something new, about creating new music and standing behind it and being able to do it. So when all that started happening on a worldwide level, we were on this roller coaster that was just finding out, oh, you're #1 in Europe. All right, let's go, promote. Then in Europe, we wrote Conga in Utrecht, Holland, because they loved Dr. Beat so much, we were promoting that. And they gave us the idea that this bunch of Dutch people were dancing like maniacs at 3 a.m. to old Cuban congas that Emilio took out his accordion because we'd run out of material, and we had nothing else to do. He goes, let's play the thing we played at the gigs. And I go, but they don't speak Spanish. He goes, so what? They speak Dutch. I mean, what difference does it make? And then I'm standing at 3 a.m. with my drummer going, we need to write a song about this rhythm, about what it is. And that's how Conga was born. So it all happened very naturally. And we weren't really thinking about breaking through anything. I was happy. I saw Santana and Feliciano, who were examples to me about how you can stay true to who you are and still, do what you love. And that was our primary focus the whole time.
I love that. And, it's incredible how organic it was for you guys. And it's a testament to your spirit and staying true to yourself, and people respond to that.
Exactly. And, I didn't even like the name Miami Sound Machine for that reason, because I wanted to be called Miami. You can't incorporate a city name, as Chicago Transit Authority knows. They ended up being Chicago, but they're incorporated that way. And then the Sound Machine came from the small record label, and I was saying, but we're not a machine. We're organic. We have live horns. We've got live this. But it ended up being a super lucky name, and I was in no position I had no vote at that time. I wasn't even Emilio's girlfriend when this went down. So we went out with Miami Sound Machine and ended up being a lucky name.
So you had, and still to this day, have an incredible career, but through that period, you ended up having a horrendous, near fatal accident. You were told you probably wouldn't ever walk again. In the midst of, you're so successful, and your songs are played everywhere, and then this happens. How did you get through? What was it in you that was like, I'm going to do this no matter what?
I think primarily the fact that I grew up with my dad in a wheelchair and I had to care for him in my adolescence. I was very clear on what was in store for my family. To be honest, I didn't care about the career part at all. I'm a very independent human being, and I didn't want that for my family. So initially it was getting through the moment. We were at the peak of my fame. And because of that, I received so many millions of, you know, people's feelings, prayers, cards, letters, that I felt them like a physical energy. So I absorbed them. I would meditate and incorporate them into my healing, imagine nerves reconnecting, and people's prayers. I grew up Catholic in a Catholic school, so we prayed all the time, but it was, okay, the Our Father, the Hail Mary. It wasn't until this moment that I realized what true connectivity is and the true power of prayer, because I was feeling it like a physical energy. And that really helped me get through that very difficult time. That and the fact that I was going to do my best to not end up with the scenario where I ended up permanently in a chair. And I also had a doctor who was incredibly open. He told me, look, this is what science says. I saw what was in there. You're extremely injured. Science says you will possibly walk again, because when I reconnected the nerves, I felt electric, stimulus going to your legs. I doubt that you'll be able to get back on stage and do what you did. And quite possibly, because of all the damage, I don't know if you're going to be able to have another baby. He goes, having said all that, he had a wife that had overcome Hodgkin's lymphoma and was, raising their kid. And she ultimately died, but 15 years later. So he told me, I can tell you that I have seen things that go far beyond anything that medicine says. So I would say it's up to you. And when he said that, I was convinced that I was going to get through that. And I had a lot, I had a lot in the balance. My son, who was 8 years old, my family. And then eventually when my body started coming back, my fans. And then it became a mission to get back on stage, just to show them that we all go through horrendous things sometimes, and it depends on how you deal, how much effort, how much discipline you put into the outcome that you want to get. I wanted to show them that I could get back to them with a lot of hard work and determination, and their prayers that helped me through so much.
And you did. I mean, you absolutely did. It's incredible. It's inspirational, and I commend you for doing that.
I felt people's prayers. All I can tell you, that is a real thing. And I firmly believe that thoughts create reality, and we're all creating reality together. So I chose to not focus on my fears and focus on the outcome that I wanted to achieve, and give that energy, because we can create in a very negative way too. If you give energy to your fears, you're going to face them. You're going to manifest them. So I kind of, anytime fears would creep in, I'd flip it and just think about what I wanted to happen.
That's a aha moment for me. I mean, to hear that's powerful, very powerful.
I've lived my life that way since then. So if I can impart that, and you're young, it's really important to focus on what you want to happen, not what you fear might. If you fear it and it doesn't happen, you wastefully feared it. Worrying about it isn't going to help. But focusing on giving energy to the things you want to achieve, that's super important.
I love that. So your new album it's like a love letter to the culture and the country and the music of Brazil. How did that come about for you?
Well, I kind of touched on it before. I've loved Brazilian music since my mom introduced me to it as a kid with a record collection. I think you'd be hard pressed to find musicians that don't love Brazilian music because of its complexity, syncopation, its sensuality. But at the root, its percussion spoke to me. We shot a documentary when I was in Brazil. We spent a month down there really going into the roots of samba. And the Yoruba tribe of Africa was enslaved and taken to both Brazil, Salvador de Bahia, where we recorded the first single, the Cuando, where we recorded that video and the documentary. And they also went to Cuba. And because of the European influences in each place, the music turned into something else, the fusion of it. But at the core is this strong African base that really has moved throughout all of Latin America and influenced the music of all our different countries. So to me, it was really interesting, like, to imagine what my music might have sounded like had I been born in Brazil. And that was the idea. I've loved Brazilian music. Like I told you, I made the band learn it when I joined at 17. We did a whole album in '83 called Rio that celebrated the music of Brazil, and that I wrote Spanish lyrics to big Brazilian hits. One of them was like the first rap tune I heard. It's called Dingy Libangi by Wilson Simonal. He was the first Afro-Brazilian that became a pop star in Brazil. It was like late 60s, early 70s. And Rita Lee's Lança Perfume. So I've always done that historically in my music. And live, we would always, do Live for Loving You as a samba, or, some song as a samba to change it up. So it's nothing new on that level. But when Alpha Verde from Sony invited me to, it was his idea. He said, I know how much you love Brazilian music. What if we go to Brazil and we record some of your biggest hits? I go, absolutely, as long as I can put some new songs on there as well for the fans. And it turned into a labor of love. We had the music done in 2017. And the week I was going into the studio, my mom got ill. And 33 days later, she passed away. And I was able to spend every moment with her. But when I tried to get back to the studio to put my part, and to do my part, I was grieving too badly. And I didn't want that energy on the record. So I asked Sony to give me some time. It took well over a year before I could sing again. It just was impossible for me. And then I felt her with me. I had sung the whole album to her live in her house because she wanted to hear. She was so excited about it and wanted to hear what it was going to sound like. So she got to hear it live from my mouth in her kitchen. And who knew that was going to happen? But I think she ended up helping me through every step once I was able to get back to it.
It's kind of higher level, that story, because, she introduced you to this music, and then you were able to, in her final times, you're going to release this big album around the world of music based on what she introduced you to. It's beautiful in a way.
Thank you. And I also, by the way, I've done it before. When I did the Standards record, it was also in homage to the music that was the first music I listened to growing up. So I was dying to tackle that American songbook because I still listen to Nat King Cole. I'll put on, music for me is very much a mood. And depending on how I'm feeling, I rarely put on my own music at home. But, I have very eclectic taste too. So I still put on the music of, of Doris Day. I remember when we first moved into the house that my grandma rented when we first came from Cuba and came here. She rented it furnished, and there was a cabinet that was a record player and a stereo in the cabinet. And inside that cabinet were 78s. All right, this is like, forget 33 or 45s or anything that came after. These were 78s. And I remember that I would put those records on and sit in front of that cabinet holding the album cover, Dinah Shore, Doris Day, like these big crooners that at the time were incredibly famous, had their own TV shows, some of them and whatnot. So this was the music I grew up with, and that's the reason I also did the Standards record. Everything I've done is out of curiosity and also out of honoring music that has been a part of my life and has allowed me to create the music that I then turned around and created years later.
So the new single off of the record, Cuando, Amor, is so, it's upbeat, it's fun, it makes you feel good. Was that a purposeful thing for you?
Absolutely. when we were going to release Rhythm Is Gonna Get You, because that was more of an idea what the record was about. It had 14 of my greatest hits, you know, with 4 new versions of songs, new songs. So that was more representative of the album. But as COVID hung on, because we were going to release the album last fall, COVID happened. We postponed to February. COVID was still here and now in Florida growing. And then George Floyd, out of respect, I didn't want to divert attention, even my own, from a very necessary, you know, standing up for justice that was happening in this country. So I postponed again. And when we were going to release, I called Sony and I said, listen, I need to have joy put into the airwaves. We need a balance. Music has saved me on many occasions, other people's music. And if I'm going to go down this road and finally release this album, I want it to be something that is going to inspire and bring joy and some happiness to people. And I'm glad we had shot the video and all those smiling faces. I studied psychology. Forcing a smile literally makes you feel better, even if you didn't want to purposely smile. So I wanted to put those smiling faces, people celebrating in the streets, people together, people dancing, and remind people that we will get back to that at one moment. We will. It's just that right now, you know, we can connect through music and through our spirit, and thank God, social media, that I think is the best reason for it to exist during times like these. So yeah, it was very purposely put out there and chosen as the first single. Even though I knew it might not reach some countries because it was in Spanish, it's just so celebratory. And it's also a bit of fusion in the record. It's a samba de roda. In the video, we're celebrating these women dancing in a circle around me. That would happen after the religious ceremony of Candomblé in Brazil. And if it was a woman in the center, it had to be all women around. And these baianas are representing the original baianas that on the banks of that particular lake, Abaete, in the video, improvised songs and were the creators of what became samba, which were women. And then later got kind of taken out of the mix because they thought it was too dangerous for women to be in the streets and whatnot. But it's a celebration of all these African roots and the things that bring us together as human beings: love, laughter, music, dancing. And it was very purposefully done that way.
I love it. And I also love that conga you rearranged to samba, which it's so, just this record is so, it makes my heart happy. And I think we need that right now.
That's the nicest thing you could say. And that's my intention. You know, music has been what has saved me in my most difficult moments. And it's a privilege and a blessing to have people still listening to my music. So I always balance is my key word in life. And we've gone through a lot of really heavy emotions and difficulties worldwide. For the first time, connected everywhere in the world, going through the same thing and being able to talk about it. So it was important to put that joy out there. And that's what my fans are feeling and people that are listening to the record. So that means that, you know, I completed my mission and my idea, and they're getting it. You know, they're feeling all the joy and love that I put into this album.
So touring, obviously it's not possible right now, but you haven't toured in like 11 years or something. One, I got to ask you why, and two, whatever the reason is, I want to urge you that once all this happens to come back out on the road. Can you tell me a little bit about that decision?
Yeah. You know what? Touring is a tough gig. It is a tough gig. It's like boot camp for me. I don't lip sync. And when I'm out there, I can't get sick. I can't go to restaurants. I can't have any fun. Everybody else can. I have to really be responsible and use my voice only for singing. So I did that for many, many, many years. So that's why in 2004, I said it would be my last world tour, because my tours would last 2 years. You know, by the time you organize a tour, and I was so fortunate that I was worldwide, but at the same time, being worldwide really made it a tough gig for me. So, and everything has a moment. You know, there's new artists, they come on board, they're out there, they're doing the thing. Not that I don't love that moment of being with the fans, but like I said, I'm not the kind of person that loves being the center of attention. So it's not like I have that need to be adulated and be on stage. I've still stayed connected in a myriad of ways. and will always be, because it's people confused it. Said I never said I was retiring. I imagine doing different things, slowing down as normal life goes, enjoying my life, being able to enjoy being a mom. I did that when Emily was born, and that's really the reason I slowed down my touring, because she was playing basketball in school. She had a very rich school life. I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to go to her games. I wanted to cheer her on, and be there for her. And I was able to enjoy that. Now I have a grandson. So just in these months that I haven't been able to hug him, thank God that I talk every day and we play and stuff, but time goes so fast and I don't want to miss it. So absolutely, we were planning on doing some gigs this year already. I was going to Latin America in August to do some things that got put by the wayside. But probably just as a celebration, I would love to get back out there and do some things when this is over. Hopefully, I'll still be around and we'll all be able to either find a new way to connect musically or at least get out there, because there's nothing like body-to-body energy in that audience. That's what, that energy when you feel it from the stage, it's like, it's an awesome force and love and connectivity. Hopefully we'll feel that again, and I would love nothing more than to get out there, at least little spurts, and show people how much I appreciate their love.
That would be awesome. Even if it's Miami, selfishly Philadelphia, or New York, LA, just a few dates. I'd be, again, that's a selfish.
That sounds very nice no, but listen, I would love nothing more. And we really were planning to do something like that on the heels of this. As a matter of fact, originally we wanted to do a big concert in Brazil and film it to be able to share it with the world. But these moments, not the moment, we'll get past this. It'll happen. We will.
Couple more questions. One, you have mentored, supported, brought up so many artists along the way. Shakira and J-Lo, Mark Anthony, Ricky Martin. Why was that important for you? While you were enjoying the fruits of your own successes, why was it important for you to say, I want to help you too?
Because we got no's from everybody. Everybody loves to say no. And we wanted to say yes. And we believed very firmly in these artists. And we thought that their success would only enhance the image of Latinos worldwide, would give people a better idea of the different types of Latin music, because even Latinos aren't really aware of so many genres and differences in our music. And it really is enriching and beautiful. And I really believe that energy comes back to you. The energy you put out, the things that you do, I believe that all that comes back. And, Emilio and I have always wanted to be helpful, and we're solid in what we do. So why it doesn't in any way diminish me or, scare me to be supportive of other artists, because other people's music has always been great, wonderful in my life. And I believed very much in those artists, in J-Lo and Shakira and Ricky Martin, that Emilio got on those Grammys where he exploded literally overnight. And Emilio worked so hard for 10 years to get the Latin Grammys going so that more artists could receive awards, because we only had 5 categories. Mm-hmm. How could you put all the Latin American music into 5 categories? It's impossible. So he knew that we could create a whole show where those artists could be recognized. And it's been a privilege to be able to do that, and it makes us very happy.
I love that. And so finally, you have the musical, but it made me think about, as I listened to your huge catalog of hits and your incredible story, what about a biopic, like Rocket Man or Bohemian Rhapsody? Like, have you thought about that? I think it'd be so incredible.
Oh, we're far beyond thought. So keep,
awesome.
Yeah, far beyond thinking process. It's just that right now, again, because of this pause that we've all taken, but it's happening. I mean, we're working diligently on something like that. It's super exciting for us, and we'll soon have some things to announce. But right now, it's not the moment. We got to focus on healing, on getting all of us past this moment, sharing this music that is important for me to maybe just have people dance in their kitchen. My favorite thing is I've received, videos of my fans that indoctrinate their kids. They got the kids dancing to it already. Someone dancing in the kitchen with their mom cooking. Those things make me so happy, and those are the great ways we can still connect.
I love that. And actually, I said final, but one more, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You've been so successful, and I ask many of my, people that I interview this, you've been so successful in so many things, a businesswoman, entrepreneur, singer, songwriter, so many things. What does success mean to Gloria Estefan?
Success to me means getting up every day and doing something that you absolutely love, whatever the money may be. It's great. We had a great moment in music, but that was never the reason. We always had backup jobs just in case. I studied psychology, communications, French minor. Emilio's a businessman. We both have had backup plans always, and you should never quit your education just to try something like this, because you, more than ever, you need to have a backup plan. That the love of friends and family that love you for you, and a strong family unit, to me, is success. And if you can find love in your life, what more is there? Love in your life, beautiful family, and being able to do what you love every day. To me, that is success.
Miss Gloria Estefan, there's a reason you are a icon and a legend. You're a bright, shining light in a world that needs more of that. Thank you so much for talking to me. Your next project, whatever that may be, please come back.
Red Table Talk. I can tell you, we're going to be, my daughter, my niece Lily, who is a huge Emmy-winning TV personality in Spanish, and me are going to extend the franchise that Jada Pinkett Smith has done with her Red Table Talks, and coming to you in October, Red Table Talk, the Estefans. 3 women, 3 generations of Cubanas and Lebanese, because they're a quarter Lebanese, my niece and my daughter. So we're coming to you with some hard conversations and a lot of hearts, coming to you in October on Facebook Watch. So that's the next phase right there.
I can't wait. Come back, in October for the launch of the show, and we'll talk to all 3 of you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.